Okay, so this is the Tableau Vivant assignment. And what the term Tableau Vivant means is, it's a silent and motionless group of people arranged to represent a scene or an incident. What we are looking at right now is some previous students of mine. I think that's what, last year? So this is last year's group mimicking the oath of the Horatii. And that's what the assignment is. What I expect you to do is to either individually or with a group recreate a work of art and photograph it and turn in that photograph. So here are some examples from the internet that I found over the years. Here we have Frida Kahlo, and what I think is clever about this is, so obviously she doesn't have birds, so she found green things to have around her, and I thought that was clever. But she did her hair and wore the same clothes, and did her makeup in the style of Frida Kahlo. And these ones from the internet, I'm pretty sure that these are from either professional photographers, not that one, but professional photographers or photography students, because the lighting that they have in these is a little bit too perfect. Like they have access to professional style lighting. I'm not expecting that of you. All right. So I'll show you what my students have done. But these are just some ideas from the internet. And notice how these people dress up, like they find a costume that is the same or very similar as what they have in the painting. And also, like this one right here, she got very clever about, like, she couldn't go to a pond, obviously. So she recreated that pond in, looks like maybe a bedroom or a living room or something. So, and that's what you can do as well. And some of these kind of have a sense of humor, like the collar here is quite funny. Again, I really think that these images come from either professional photographers or photography students. Maybe it was an assignment they had in a photography class. And again, people get real creative about how to recreate things, like the hair. He used a shirt instead of a wig or hair or something. But some of these are rather creative and interesting. And this is one that leads me to believe that these are professional photographers. This one adds a sense of humor to it, and I like that. Ones that are funny are more enjoyable to look at. And this is a sense of humor too, having the toilet paper around the neck. And this one's funny too, yeah. And he was able to get that look by adding makeup to his lips. And that one's clever. Using makeup is a good way to increase the similarity to the artwork. And a lot of people seem to like the lady with the ermine. So there's lots of variations of that. That one's uncanny how close it is. And here they created an elaborate background. Or is that on the floor? That's all pastries on the floor, isn't it? And crackers. I just noticed that. That's very clever. But and then I think that one's funny. Lots of people did Vermeer online. It seems to be a popular one. These are all based on Vermeer. All right, now what we've been looking at primarily is one figure in the artwork. One of the things that I'm going to grade on is the level of difficulty, and that's at the lowest level of difficulty, having one figure in the artwork. All right, when we begin to have two figures in the artwork, that increases the difficulty a little bit. And it seems like a lot of people also did the Arnold Feeney and his bride. That's quite amazing to get that similar. All right, and then with more people, it gets more interesting. So try to work in a group. I think that would work best. For those of you watching at home or online, maybe you can work with your family. But the more people you have in the picture, the more level of difficulty it adds, and that will score you higher. And I think this one is very. It has also lends itself to humor. I think this is funny. All right, that's a lot of people, and that's really incredible how they were able to pull that one off. But get together with some friends, all right? Have more than just one person in it. Oh, and I want to take this opportunity to say no nudes, please. All right. So if there is a nude in your picture, find a creative way to address that. Here's a good example of addressing the nudity. So Liberty leading the people, she's topless, and then so the model in the picture below has something covering her there. You can also go with modern art. All right, that would be also be very creative. So this person was able to imitate this modern art with the exaggerated makeup. So you can have fun that way. All right, this is very clever and creative and different. All right, and that's just weird, but it works. All right, and so with modern art, you can use the extreme makeup on that. That's funny. Okay, so let me show you examples that my students have done. Now, years ago, before I started teaching art history, I used to do this with my advanced art classes. So this was the first one that I did. There's another one I did in my classroom, and there's another one right out in the hall. And that's one of my better ones. All right, so my students. All right, and here's the students that we went out in front and photographed the oath of the ratio. All right, now, and this was our latest one, the Last Supper. All right, so this is what some of my students have turned in the last couple of years. Judas slaying Holofernes, Poussin. This one was a good one. And a really easy way to kind of dress up in antiquity is to just get a bed sheet and wrap it around you. I like this one a lot. This one is almost perfect. All right, with the exception of the color of the chair, but it's the right kind of chair, it's the right kind of dress, the pose is all right, and it looks great. That's a good one of my favorites right here. This one, they looked at the background. They have bookshelves on the background, so they found a place that had a background. I don't know if they moved the table here, but they put a tablecloth on it. And look at the items that are on the table. They have all the same things on the table. And look at how they tried to mimic those hats. And they wore the same colors of clothes. This level of, like, this would get a perfect score. That I can see some minor irregularities or minor differences, but they put in a lot of effort to pull this one off. This is another one. It's absolutely perfect. The kid wears the same thing as the image, and he's in the same place with the same lighting and everything. All right, now this one, these students, this group of students, they told me they took 200 pictures, and then they showed me. I saw on their phone 200 pictures. All right, it took them 200 pictures to get this picture, with the dog in the right place, with the swing being in the right place, and everybody else being in the right pose. It took them 200 photographs. So this is not. I'm not asking you to do an easy thing. I'm asking you to do a difficult thing, but I think it pays off. This is a nearly perfect pose. This one, the girl was in the wrestling team, so she got all her teammates to pose, and then she took the photograph. Really good job on this one. I kind of want to discourage photoshopping. Try to do it without. One thing about this one is try to mimic the same point of view as what's in the photo. So bring that camera down a little bit and have it a little bit more at eye level with the figures. This one was creative in its use of, creating a beard out of paper towels and then taping it to his face. And then I guess he has a sister or something that has a tiara, and then he made horns for the tiara. This is clever. They found a location that worked for their background. All right, so how would I grade these? So what I'm looking at, does it resemble the artwork? And did the student put in effort into this? And how difficult was this to make? So here, and then some of the other things I think about when I grade this is the pose. Like the one that is up above, like has a nearly perfect pose. Like all of these, they did really good at posing. Yes, there's some imperfections, all right, but that it's impossible to weed out all of the imperfections. Here's a couple of ones that didn't work out so well. The students that are mimicking Judith and Holofernes, they didn't really put much effort into getting the poses right and getting the point of view right, but you can see how they were kind of way off. The picture that I took down below, there's lots of parts where the pose is just way off and wrong, especially with the main figure right here. I could have handled that a bit. If I would, I would like to redo this photo and do a much better job of it. There's lots of wrong poses in here. With costume and props, like these are a couple of really good examples of costumes and props. They dressed exactly how they saw in the picture, and using the same colors and try to mimicking the same types styles of clothes. And then here again, we are lacking any kind of attention to costume or props. Location. The first group, or the ones that are up above, they scoped out a location that had some shelves behind, a table, light coming in from the left. They did perfect. The gleaners down here found a field that looks just like the field that is in the painting. And this guy's room, or the room that he's sitting in, is exactly almost that is in the artwork. And then here's some bad examples of location. If your picture takes place indoors, then take your picture indoors. If your painting, it takes place outdoors, find an outdoor location to take your photo. All right, and then level of difficulty. So these show a very difficult thing. That this is a high degree of difficulty in these three photos. And in these photos show a low degree of difficulty, especially with American Gothic. All right, I really don't want to see any American Gothic. All right, I find it to be a boring Tableau Vivant to do. All right, so but these show, even though the pose on the one at the bottom is a really good recreation of the pose, it doesn't show much difficulty. And then, like I said, even if you are like nearly perfect, there's always going to be minor differences between you and the artwork. Even when, like, in all these years that I've done this, I can find lots of things that I would have changed in the photograph if I had seen them while I was taking the photograph. All right, so to submit your Tableau Vivant, I want you to upload the photograph, a quality photograph of your artwork. I want you to upload a JPEG or PNG or PDF of your artwork, of your Tableau Vivant, the picture that you took of your group. And then I want you to upload a candid picture of everybody in the group holding up the fingers of the numbers 2 and 4 for the summer of 24, or whatever summer or semester this is. So if this video gets used for multiple years, then you're going to hold up the year for that. And this, because the people that are taking this class online, I don't know them like that. I know the students in my class. So this is to guard against people just picking a picture off the internet and submitting it as theirs. So I want a candid picture of everybody wearing the same thing at the same location at the same time and holding up the numbers 24. And then also the same thing with a selfie, including the photographer, whoever's taking the picture. All right, let's move on to the Grand Manor portrait. So I discussed Grand Manor portraits in the Chapter 26 lectures, and you can look up examples of Grand Manor portraits for yourself. You go to Google and you would type in Grand Manor portraits painting, and you can click on the images. It's a very easy thing to look up. So you are going to mimic or use these as your guide. You don't have to copy them exactly. This is not a copying. The other picture, the Tableau Vivant, I want you to copy those to the best of your ability. This, you're just taking a beautiful photograph of you dressed in beautiful clothes in a beautiful location, and you can mimic the pose, or I just want you to have like a classical pose. All right, so these are Grand Manor portraits. So there are 4 things I'm looking for in these pictures. I'm looking for a beautiful location. I'm looking for you to be wearing your best clothes, or the model to be wearing the best clothes. Maybe you're the one taking the photograph. you are in a classical pose and you have a low horizon line. And you can see the low horizon line there and there. So with her, it's at her knees, and with him, it's at his hips. If the horizon line is between the knees and the hips, that's the optimum place for the horizon line. If it's up near the shoulders or the head, you haven't taken the picture right. So to get that horizon line down low, the photographer, the person taking the photos, needs to be either crouching or squatting or kneeling on the ground and taking the picture so that they're kind of looking up at the person and to make them look more grand than they really are. So here's some examples from my students. This student right here, he had a costume that he got for a play. He only wore it once for the play, and he wanted to wear it a second time for this picture. You don't have to wear a costume, just dress in your best. If you have a costume, that works great. If not, just dress in your best. So here's some others of my students. This horizon line is a little bit too high. It's right around his waist instead of his hips. So bring that horizon line down. All right, some good examples of the low horizon line. Now she's laying, so she's down on the ground, and the person that took the picture is down on the ground. You can see that they're below her eye level, even though that horizon line is kind of at her shoulders or her chest. All right, in this case, it's okay because to get a horizon line down even lower, that person taking the photograph would need to be like laying down on the ground because she's sitting on the ground. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But I can tell that the photographer is down low with the person. And, like, again, you don't have to be the one in the photo. You can be the one taking the photo. This student took a photograph of her mother. All right, so how would I grade these? So, four things that I'm looking for is a beautiful location, best clothes, classical pose, and horizon line. So, she's in a beautiful location. She gets the 25 points for that. She's wearing the best clothes. She gets 25 points for that. She's in a classical pose. She gets 25 points for that. And there is a low horizon line. I can see it's down by her hips. She gets 25 points for that. This would get 100. This one, he's doing all the right stuff. It's in a beautiful location. Got it. Best clothes. Got it. Classical pose. Got it. And low horizon line. Got it. So this would be 100. Now, this one is a bit of a quandary. All right. So, is it in a beautiful location? No. However, she is standing by the fence like he's standing by a fence. And so it's close enough. I would kind of give a couple points for that. Not the full points, but a couple points for that. Is she wearing her best clothes? No. However, all right, she does match her red jacket to his red jacket. She matched her khaki pants to his khaki pants. But best of all, the dog in here is an exact match, all right, of the dog, all right, which I thought was very clever. And so, I'm giving her some wiggle room for that. Is this a classical pose? Yes. And is it the low horizon line? No. The horizon line is up near her face, so she would not get points for that. So this one was scored kind of low. However, I really like this picture, but there's some things that she would need to fix. All right, this one right here, is it in a beautiful location? The answer is no. Your backyard is not a beautiful location. You got to go somewhere. All right, is he in the best clothes? Absolutely. Is he in a classical pose? Absolutely. Is it a low horizon line? No. So get down low when you take the picture. This assignment or this person's project would have gotten a 50. And this is what happens when students turn it in, do the assignment last minute, and turn it in last minute. Is it in a beautiful location? No. A Sonic is not a beautiful location. Is she wearing the best clothes? No, she is not. Is she in the classical pose? Yes, she is. Is it a low horizon line? No, she is not. So this assignment would have gotten a 25. All right, so that's how I grade these. So, submitting your Grand Manor portrait, I want you to upload a high quality photo of the Grand Manor artwork that you are trying to emulate. Upload your Grand Manor portrait either in JPEG, a PNG, or a PDF. And candid picture of you holding up the fingers of numbers 2 and 4 for the summer of 24. If you're watching this and it's at a different semester, so hold up the numbers of the year. All right, and wearing the same clothes as taken in the photograph in the same location and the same time, and a selfie with you and the photographer. Whoops. And dressed in the same clothes, the same time, and the same place. All right. Are there any questions about this assignment? Okay, for those of you taking this class in the summer, I know it's hot outside. And so if this is the case, then it's okay to dress for the weather. However, it's got to be your best clothes for the weather. So, a nice clothes for the heat, nice and in a beautiful location. So, if it's too hot to be outside, find a beautiful location that is inside, a hotel lobby of a very nice hotel, not a motel, or an office lobby or something of that nature. But try to complete this assignment with the spirit of the assignment um, within those hot the hot weather. All right.